our brains all day will try to make us stay in a familiar hell because it's literally just familiar versus seeking an unfamiliar heaven, because that's scarier sometimes, unless you tell your brain, hey, we're not gonna die, but sometimes it feels like that, especially if you've put too much into one person. That can happen. Okay, I need to start talking. News of the week. I broke up on Valentine's, to be specific. Why would I do that? Why did that happen? What did I learn? Am I feeling bad or good? I guess we're going to talk about all of that today. The ups and downs of being single in your 20s in the 21st century. I woke up on Valentine's not feeling exceptionally happy in my relationship. So, and this had been going on, maybe, you never wake up and you're like, I no longer feel good in the relationship. Usually it's a progression that builds up to the ending of a relationship. And that's what it had been, but it had gotten, those feelings had intensified in the last month. And so I woke up on Valentine's and I thought, I think I would rather be single than in a relationship that I don't feel good in. Sorry, my hands are like clammy. Ew. What was I saying? I was saying I think I'd rather be single than in a relationship that I don't feel good in, and I haven't felt good in for enough time that I think it's justified to let it go. I felt like I had put in an amount of effort for an amount of time that I should have felt different if I was going to feel different about the situation. You know what I mean? Like, at some point you have to draw the line of your effort and respecting both of your guys' time to know that it might be time to call the shot instead of continuing. I just thought nothing was good was gonna come of continuing to draw it out. And I guess I just woke up with the balls to do it on Valentine's. I'm not like a huge freak about Valentine's. It's not like, oh, I'm so sad that I don't have a Valentine or something like that. Like, I really don't, I think, care about the holiday that much. But just the knowledge that today the world is celebrating the love in their life. Lots of love. Familial love, friendships, but, mainly romantic love is highlighted on that holiday. And so I was like, if I'm in a romantic relationship that I'm not even celebrating, that is not really existing right now, then why am I still in it? And I think for a number of reasons, lots of people stay longer, or maybe not longer than they need to, but they stay for quite a while. I think that's out of hope. Also, you love this person, you have hope that things will get better, and hope is a powerful thing. You don't want to give up on something when maybe it just needs a breakthrough. You don't want to be a giver up or too fast to not see something through. I think that I stayed in the relationship a while, giving what I thought to be my best effort. Also, my partner was giving what was their best effort in that time, I guess. And that's interesting that different people's best effort can be very different. And you need to know if you're okay with someone's best effort, or if you feel that you're giving your best effort, and then you could look at the other person and be like, you're not giving the best effort because it's not to your effort, but really in reality could be their best effort in that season, in that moment. So it's kind of also fair if both persons like, hey, we're both giving best efforts, but they're still not the same. And so maybe that discrepancy is where it hurts you guys to stay in the relationship even longer, even though there can be a care for each other, and I don't know, the efforts aren't matching each other in that moment, and that just kind of sucks. And it makes you possibly what's the word I'm looking for? Resent? Hold a grudge to? The person that you feel is not matching your effort, because it's why can't they put that much effort into it also? But sometimes people just can't. Yeah, and that sucks. So I think if you do have that information, to let yourself see it. I think sometimes when you're trying to decide to stay or leave a relationship, you could not want to take the information provided to you by words, provided to you by actions, whatever it is. You kind of try to twist the information, make excuses for the information. You really sometimes don't want to see the information on the table. And that is because if you face it, it hurts you. And you would rather be in a denial or in a pretend space of comfort rather than looking at the facts. And I think that I have learned, again, I think going through this another time, leaving a relationship, because I've had a few relationships, and this is the second time that I have left one instead of the other person calling it off. And I think that I have learned you have to love yourself enough to have your own back and to make the correct call with the information that you have, because we've probably all had a friend that tells us what they're going through in their relationship, or this happened, and you're like, ugh, stop talking about it, because everyone can see the clear answer that you need to leave. You staying in this, you just disrespect your own value staying. It's almost like when I think I have had a friend that she was like, yeah, he just, I don't know, cheats on you, or openly is like, I don't want you, whether with his actions or his words, doesn't care about you and doesn't want you, and she just stays. And you're like, girl, you're the dumb one. You're the dumb one. I mean, this guy is getting everything. He has his cake and can eat it too. I don't even know what that saying means, but for those that do, I know the meaning behind it, but actually don't get the saying. But it's he gets the best of both worlds, because you won't freaking take the hint, and you just let yourself be openly disrespected, and you aren't caring, or you're hurting yourself over and over for what? Because you're afraid to leave. And why are you so afraid? And then you need to dig into what's behind that fear. A fear of what? The unknown. I don't know. I might have said this in my last video. Maybe I didn't. I think that I wanted to. I heard a quote that said, you will stay in a familiar hell before you chase an unfamiliar heaven. And it's because the brain, from our biology, from our evolution, wants to protect us, wants the familiar, because that means we're safe. If we go into unfamiliar territory, it literally puts you in physical danger. At least, wiring over thousands of years makes your brain think that. And so when you try to step into new territory, even if it could be better, you would rather stay where you are. It makes me think of, like, let's say a tribe that they were experiencing a famine in their tribe. The land's not being fruitful. And half of the tribe is like, hey, if we don't pack up and go, we're all gonna die. And half the tribes may be like, well, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what animals are gonna kill us. We have young, and so we need to stay here and ration our food and be here because it's scarier going out, even though, like, pretty much you're sure you're also not gonna survive where you are, but, like, the unknown is scarier, if not scary, but if not scarier. And so let's say half the tribe does have the balls. Well, I'd rather seek an unknown with the potential of a better life than staying here for sure knowing it's about to be a shit show. And they go off, and let's say they do find the land of milk and honey, and they're like, oh my gosh, we found it. We need to go back and get the others. And by the time they get back, all the others starved. They're all dead. So moral of the story is our brains all day will try to make us stay in a familiar hell because it's literally just familiar, versus seeking an unfamiliar heaven, because that's scarier sometimes, unless you tell your brain, hey, we're not gonna die, but sometimes it feels like that, especially if you've put too much into one person. That can happen. So where was this taking us? I don't know. But you need to take the information on the table and have your own back to chase an unfamiliar heaven, because you're not going to die. You won't. And you just got to do it. You got to take the jump, and that is in fact loving yourself. And loving yourself, I think, gets a bad rap of, like, being selfish. But it's not. It's because you do no one good by staying in a situation that doesn't do you good. Like, even if you stayed in that situation, you wouldn't be the best version of yourself. And you probably, I don't know, you just kind of become yucky and stale, and you just are kind of going against what you really know deep down. And I think you can, like, become something that you don't like, and ultimately what no one else likes either. It's also really not attractive to kind of stay in something just because you're so scared. It's sexy to be in a relationship that both of you are with each other because you really benefit like, I don't know, a place of giving instead of someone just being so scared to leave you. Like, if I was with someone who was just so terrified of losing me, and it was like, you're my life. Ew. No. So, there's that. Let's talk about my fears and hopes. My guess. My fears and hopes leaving something that was, in fact, not a bad thing, was just not the best thing. And that's hard. To leave something that is not obviously bad. It's just not really what you want. And I think the first step, if you feel like that, is to, give your efforts to water your own grass, right? To work on the thing that you already have to see if it can become. But I feel like I said in the beginning, I exhausted that option, and we just weren't getting there even after therapy, couples therapy, just like trying to really understand each other and understand where each other are coming from, what we both really want, if that really is aligned, like I feel like we tried that. So, and you never know, something can come back around, and maybe there's stuff that you have to work on apart. Like there just are some things that you can't do or become around another person, or I could be wrong. I feel like that can happen though. I hear stories like breakup, and then you guys went and had your time and you worked on each other and you can come back better and like restart. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about my ups and downs, my fears and hopes, I guess. Fears and hopes? Is that what I said? So the fears that I faced considering this decision and post-breakup. Number one, obvious. I think every girl under the planet has, you think this possibly if you're deciding to leave a relationship, is like, who will I find next? Will I find someone next that makes me as happy as this last person did? Which is the seeking an unfamiliar heaven. Because especially if where you were wasn't not hell, because I was saying a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. It wasn't hell. I mean, it was really, really great. And at one point, it was my heaven, which, I want to be in a lifelong relationship where we grow together, and I know it's not going to be perfect. And at some point, you're going to hit a point in any relationship where it's not going to be heaven. But again, I feel like we worked on it, and it just felt like two parties weren't on the same level of wanting to travel to that heaven together. So, you can be fearful when considering leaving a place of the unknown. Will I find something hopefully better than this past relationship? Something that fits better, something that complements us both better, like just better, I think is a fear, Will I regress or will I progress? Because I think anyone can find someone, but the hope is always to find someone really amazing for two people to come together and complement each other really well. So that was a fear. Another fear is another unknown, but not an unknown of will I find another partner like this. But what's my life going to look like now? Because if you were in a long-term relationship, you probably had some sense or idea of your future plans, probably with this person. I was with my partner for 2.5 years, and we were discussing future plans of joining our lives and marriage and everything. So you have like at least some type of foundation to your future that included them and your guys' plans. And so then removing said object makes all of it unsettling. And you go through probably a period post breakup of having to repair that foundation, like getting your feet under you and reimagining the future, just yourself now. And that can be exhilarating and exciting, but also sad. And scary. Because when you have someone by your side, you feel like it's a lot easier to take on the challenges of life or the new adventures of life. So you have to go through that, and I think it's okay to give yourself that time. I think sometimes people kind of run away from that process and they just want to like have an escape, whether that's with a rebound or going on a vacation or something, to like not have to feel those feelings. I think that I did that in the past. Don't recommend. You need to go through that uncomfort, because that's part of why breakups and hard things in life are so good. Because when you are uncomfy, it is a indicator that you're growing, or you cannot grow. You can regress. If you're in a season of life that is uncomfy, you can either take that to go to the next level, or you can take that and stoop lower. I think that you can do that. Heartbreak, drink, be depressed, never leave the house, think your life is over. Or you can progress. You can build back stronger. You can learn. You can become a better version of yourself. And whether that's a new relationship, you're a better person in it, or you end up with the past relationship, but in the future that's also a new relationship, but you both are better. Like, you get to make the decision to become better or not better. So you need to, and you have to be uncomfy to do it. And I hate being sad. Okay. Ooh, I hate it. I told my friends and my siblings, I was like, listen, I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be sad. But you have to be. You have to be sometimes. So, don't skip that. Fear? Another fear. I think another fear or discomfort, just a negative feeling of losing this person, is that I really admired them and I loved their life and I loved the things they contributed to my life. So it's sad to lose what they brought to my life, and kind of knowing that I'm gonna have to fill in those spots or those things that I really liked that they brought to my life by myself. And that was something I also considered pre-breakup. Like, I know that these things, I'm not just gonna lose them. Like, they're taking these other possible people or experiences, with them, and it's just how it is. But I think that gives me the opportunity to fill those spaces with my own things, So again, just for me in general, but also, like I said, a dream is to find a lifelong amazing partner. So hopefully that happens. If it does not, I can still have built a beautiful, full life that I love myself and supports me, whether I'm in or not in a relationship. And I don't feel like I have to hold on to so many things in another person, I guess. So, yeah, something else I had to let go of. I think a lot of these lessons are learning, like, hold things in life with an open hand, and you never know when they're gonna come and go. So, yeah, and that's okay. I guess you just have to be grateful, which is really kind of sad. Like, I don't. Now, things that because I was saying fears, and then, like, hopes / excitements of also a new beginning. I think for me, I am excited to start things that I put on the back burner. I think that I have a tendency to get very excited about a future with someone. I love the future. It's my favorite place. It's like a beautiful playground, but it's not a real place. So I get carried away with it easily, and the future makes me not take action in the present. That's bad. Example, I don't know. Like, me and said person, we're planning to so it made me not do some things here. Simple, like, there's some things I've wanted to do to my house for a while. Get a rug, paint a room, get a new light fixture. But I'm like, should I spend the money? Because I'm probably not going to be here for very much longer. And I still would like to go somewhere else, to not be here. But I think I can have a little fun. And I have what I have right now. And I'm not trying to make any crazy irrational decisions. And I think I do want to be more grateful for what I have right now, right here. And then take future opportunities. So I think I might lose myself in decorating my home a little bit. So I'm excited about things like that I've just put on the back burner. I think another one of those things is this channel. I don't know why I think I can lose my creativity while I'm in a relationship. I have to study that. I don't know why that is. Why do I lose my creativity? Like, now that I'm single, I'm like, okay, I want to paint. I want to, I want to get into art. I want to hire someone to teach me how to be a better DJ. I want to flip that piece of furniture. I want to create content. Like, why does all that come flooding back now that I'm single? I don't know. And I need to study that, because I think that kind of has been a trend in my relationship. And maybe it's just that the relationship also didn't inspire me, or it took some of my spark. But you have to protect your own spark. And you can't blame it on someone else, you know? So, excited about picking up some of my own dreams again. What else am I excited about? I'm excited to just be single in my 20s. I haven't really been single in my adult life, and I have wanted to be for a while, but I've had a good relationship, so why just leave just to be single? You know what I mean? And I have something good, so why leave it? But now I'm excited about it. Like, kind of live my Carrie Bradshaw moment. She was in her 30s, but all the single girl TV shows, I kind of want to do it. And I don't want to date for a while. I want to be single, and I want to figure out really who I am, and just kind of have fun and build confidence in me and my own life. And I think deciding my own plans for the future, because again, when you haven't really been single in your adult life, I think for the most part, your plans probably include someone else, like a significant person, and they're a big factor. So until this point, have I really been able to consider my future only for me? And I think that's interesting. And I'm excited to see where that takes me. To just see, like, okay, I'm not considering anything else. What do I just want? And I think that's nice. I need water. I think in general, I'm really excited to create a life and create a version of myself that I really admire and have wanted for a long time. Just me. And then to bring someone else into that picture, I think I'm really excited to do. I think I'll be really proud of myself for doing it just for me. Even the example of if I were to decide to relocate somewhere else. Like, if I did that by myself, I think I'll feel a sense of accomplishment bigger than if I did it with someone else, because I will know that I was able to do it and I didn't have anything else as a crutch. And to create a fuller, maybe not fuller, but more intentional friend group that I really am a good friend to, and to build a career that I love and will be so excited to do, and find myself in a way that I have no one else to reassure is good. Because when you're in a relationship, you probably get some sort of validation from them, and I have heard of people being in relationships and the guy's like, oh, I don't like how you do your hair like that, or I like it when you wear this type of outfit, or that's my favorite color of nail on you, whatever. Like, there's an external opinion besides you, and so I'm excited to just find myself, not having it bounce off of someone else and like looking to them to see if it's, I don't know, not looking to them, but just having their input, you know? Just yourself, loving the way you do your hair. Just yourself, loving the jewelry you wear, loving your own outfit, loving how you do your nails or don't do them, and loving you. And not loving yourself because you feel validated by someone else. And once you probably really do find that within yourself, it probably becomes a lot more clear the next time you're in a relationship where to draw the line. Because if you haven't done that and you are in the process of finding out, let's say, what jewelry you like to wear, but someone else is saying like, oh, that looks really a lot better on you, or I like this better, you're like, oh, okay, and kind of innocently like take that on instead of you just figuring it out by yourself and really being like, I love it because like I fell in love with it. And so then if you get into a relationship and you're like, hey, I don't really like that, you're like, I don't care because this is me, this is what I've been doing. You know, do you smell what I'm stepping in? Okay, I think I'm making sense. So I'm excited overall. I am. I'm also, you know, it's like a Band-Aid. I feel a little raw. You feel a little like a rash on your heart. You're just a little more sensitive, you know. Something's been stripped off of your heart. Damn it. But that's okay. And I think a good takeaway, if you are contemplating, if you are going through whatever, something that I have held on to in this relationship and past breakups is that I will have better. Whether that's better with this past person because we're going to become better and be together in the future and we just will be better for it, or I will have a better different person. Either way, there will be better, but I know that better can't come from me staying in this relationship right now. I have to leave in that pursuit of something better for me and letting yourself have that chance. You know what I mean? Don't take away the chance from yourself to have better. And I don't want that to be taken wrong. There's probably a better way for me to say that because you could say that for forever. Like, there's always going to be someone better. Like, you're going to get older. I'm not going to look 20 my whole life. And so my person could be like, well, there's someone always going to be younger. There's always someone with bigger boob, but the bees. There's always maybe someone prettier. And same for the guy side. Someone fitter, someone younger, someone with more money. Like, not like that. It's not what I'm promoting here. But while you are dating, before you are made the commitment of marriage, and even if you have a good relationship, give it your all. Water your own grass. But where to draw the line, I think takes some discernment. Just knowing that if two people are equally willing to fight the same battle, I think it will be won. So if you can find someone that is not a giver-upper either on this, I think that you can pretty much overcome anything. But if one side is giving up, but not willing to fight the same battle, then I think you need to draw the line, you know, and you need to step back, and because you can't fight a battle yourself, and you need to know yourself enough to know when it doesn't fit you, you know, kind of like Cinderella. Don't force the shoe to fit. There will be a shoe that fits. Guess you could take the shoe to the shoe stretcher, but It probably is going to look a little funky. I don't know. Maybe that will work. But don't try to stretch it too much, because then it will break. If I'm making sense, I don't know. Find the shoe that fits you, because there's lots of shoes. And maybe you just need to grow in the new shoe. You need to stretch yourself. So maybe, you need to split up, work on yourself, stretch, and then the shoe will fit. Who knows? So, I'm going to leave this on another book quote because I read something really good. This is the 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. It's been really great so far, but I read a specific quote that I'm going to do the mic drop of this video on, okay? But if I lack respect for and enjoyment of who I am, I have very little to give, except my unfulfilled needs. In my emotional impoverishment, I tend to see other people essentially as sources of approval or disapproval. I do not appreciate them for who they are in their own right. I see only what they can or cannot do for me. Right on. To be honest, I'm learning what that really means because I know in a relationship you're supposed to give and not take, but you also can't stay in a relationship where you're the only one continuing to give. You know what I mean? So you don't need to go into a relationship just seeking to get your needs fulfilled, because really that's not a good romantic relationship or a loving relationship. In fact, it's just an emotional suck from someone else. But yeah, in the end, there's also needs in a relationship. I'm wrestling with this. Take it as you want. But I read that, I was like, shit. Good shit. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.